Thank you.
What? Oh, you left them all out? I tell you, we're so dependent upon the thing. So that is the way it is. I guess I worked out my thing that the train's coming, but you can do in the times and you not don't you read it. Like, oh, cool.
Strong for the trip, so
Sí. But I think I need to be a little bit helpful.
Good morning. Good morning. Let's start our service with meditation followed by meditation.
Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Nama.
Welcome, everyone. Happy New Year. We're gathered today to observe one of the most important services for Jodo Shinshu Buddhists, Goshoki Hoonko, the annual memorial, the annual memorial service for the founder of our sect, Shinran Shuni, who passed away on January 16, 1262. I'd like to welcome our guest speaker, Reverend Michael Endo, Executive Assistant to the Bishop of the Buddhist Churches of America. Welcome, Reverend. We'll start our service today with a Samudro, followed by the aspiration to Gautama.
We are gathered together in the presence of the Tathagata Amida, the embodiment of wisdom and compassion, to observe the Buddhist Church of Stockton's annual memorial service for our founder, Shinran Shin. The Nepenthe teaching has been transmitted through the 7 spiritual masters. We gather to acknowledge our gratitude to Shinran Shin for having clarified and transmitted the valuable Nepenthe Dharma. Standing on the essential oneness of all beings, we confidently anticipate entering the joyful state of the uncreated. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu.
Our speaker today is Shoshinya, the Nemitsu and Echo, in the service book pages 39 to 54. We'll now have incense offering by the following representatives. Dharma School student Marissa Yu. Dharma School teacher Kate Martin. Sangha Club Ella Uemura. Young Buddhist Association, Casey Kamamoto. Young Adult Buddhist Association, Dr. Ellen Kawaguchi. Youth Athletic Organization, Derek Uemura. Do we have another representative from the YAO? Or Dr. John Pucci? Adult Buddhist Association, Dolores Matsumura. Tomono Kai, Mike Shibata. Stockton Bukio Taiko, Chris Pigo. Stockton Kendall Dojo, Anthony Cabral. Do we have another representative here from George Fuji? Cortez Bolakai, Pat Kaiser. Stockton Buddhist Women's Association, Kathy Fujimori. And Buddhist Church of Stockton, Candy Hayashi. Thank you, everyone. Next, we'll have DACA St. Shinran verses 1 and 2 in the service book. It's on page 205, followed by 3 treasures, which are also included on the back of this program.
three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One, now we hear it. If we do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be freed from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in them. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves your supreme will. I take refuge in Dharma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in true accord, in your life of harmony, in a spirit of universal brotherhood, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your kind attendance today, and it's my honor and great privilege to be able to introduce our guest speaker, Reverend Michael Shojin Endo. And actually, I'll always remember Michael Sensei's birthday because he shares the same birthday as my sister, maybe different years, of course, but same day. And of course, Shakyamuni Buddha's birthday as well, April 8th. And I'll be kind and I won't tell everybody the year, but Michael Sensei was born in Oakland, California, and he has many different levels of his ordination as well. And in addition to receiving a BA in International Relations at the San Francisco State University, he received his Tokudo in March 2002, which is the first level of ordination, and then received Kyoshi certification in December 2007. And he has many temple-related activities, not only as a member, but also being the manager at the Buddhist Church of Oakland, the office manager, being a board member, which spans back from 1989 and well into the present, and also even serving as the president in the Buddhist Church of Oakland, but also currently serving as a minister's assistant under Reverend Harry Bridge, our previous neighbor at the Buddhist Church of Lodi. So I know many of you know Reverend Bridge as well. And was working also as the secretary at the office of the bishop, and many other things, executive assistant to the bishop, executive secretary for the BCA Federation of Buddhist Women's Association, assistant instructor for the Foreign Tokudo session in October 2003, and program assistant in the Honraji office from January 2018 to January 2019. But in addition to all of these different things, Michael Sensei serves on so many different levels, not only on the temple level, the BCA, and also being a wonderful colleague to many of the ministers who he definitely advocates for in his position as well. So I'm very honored to be able to not only call Michael Sensei my friend, but a dear colleague as well. And if you follow Sensei online, on social media, you know that he's a connoisseur of wonderful things, delicious foods, delicious beverages, wonderful technique in cooking, as he served as one of our guests for the cooking of the Shojin Ryori that so many of us had an opportunity to participate in. So in addition, despite all of his busy schedule, the things in his busy schedule, he does like to golf, to travel, again to cook and photography, and actually do flower arranging and tea ceremony. And so at this time, I would like to welcome Michael Sensei to give our Dharma message for our children, and of course, later on give his extended message for the adults as well. Thank you.
Morning, everyone. Thank you all for gathering for this very special service. Thank you, Candace Sensei, for the invitation. Oh, there you go. And thank you for the warm welcome and introduction. It's always nice to come back to Stockton. A lot of friends here, a lot of people I know. So, and also today, a very special day that we get to honor someone very special later for the life. So, oh, right. Okay, oh, I'll say I'll say too. Welcome, senseis. Nice to see everybody. So this morning, oh, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone too. Hope you all had a nice shogatsu. Today I wanted to talk about, since we are honoring Shinran Shonin, the founder of our sect of Jodo Shinshu, touch upon Shinran Shonin and Christmas. As we just finished our holiday season, right? When we entered January, we entered the season of Hoonko for our Jodo Shinshu temple, right? And so, to me, it's like going from one season of joy and holidays to mark the holidays in December. We enter January, and to me, we enter yet another season of joy, and gratitude, and time of celebration. So last month was Christmas. I know as Buddhists, we don't celebrate Christmas, right? And we don't celebrate it for its religious purpose, obviously, but we do celebrate Christmas, right? We have Christmas. Kids, we have people especially, right? We all enjoy Christmas. We get together for the parties. We get together for gift exchanges and all that other stuff that comes along with Christmas. So did you all wish for something for Christmas? You all hope you'll get something for Christmas? Right? I know at your age, I did, always wanting something, right? And did you get what you wanted for Christmas? You blink your eyes now. I know, again, when I was your age, when the holidays came around, I always remember there was something I would want for Christmas time, right? And sometimes I got it, sometimes I didn't, whether it was a new bike or whatever, or skateboard. In my days, we didn't have video games and stuff yet, so that's how old I am. But this time of Hoonko is a time that we gather to express our deepest debt of gratitude and indebtedness to the founder of our sect of Jodo Shinshu, Shinran Shonin. And I was thinking, I wonder what Shinran Shonin would do if there was Christmas during this time, right? What would Shinran Shonin wish for? So I'm trying to think about the time, the era that Shinran Shonin was growing up. I'm thinking, maybe, I hope I get some good manju. If it was at a time he had already entered the priesthood, obviously, well, probably would have been because he entered the priesthood at the age of 9, right? So maybe I'll get a new robe, maybe a new menju, maybe a certificate to an onsen vacation weekend, or maybe some, I could use some new zodis or sandals. But I thought about it, and we read into the life of Shinran Shonin, and I think, Shinran Shonin doesn't want it. He was happy with just encountering the teachings of the Buddha, the teachings of and to encounter Amida Buddha in his life. Actually, then I thought about it. I said, well, true, Shinran Shonin was happy just having encountered a life of Buddhism, a life of meeting with the heart and compassion of Amida Buddha. But then, more so, I think, later in his life, probably when he was young, right after Kokudo, or before meeting Honen Shonin, his teacher, and things like that, while he was young, I'm sure in his mind, because he was human just like all of us, he did have some thoughts or wishes of something. I'm sure he wished for something in his life, aside from the teachings and all the study that he did. Whether it was, maybe he did want some. I'm sure he wanted some new sandals or a new Nenju at some time, because everything got all pretty bolo, I'm sure, the way he was living his his life all those years, especially on Mount Hiei, right, for those 20 years, from age 9 to 29. I wouldn't even be surprised if I wish I could get off this mountain at some point, considering the hardship that he went through at that time. But this year, we celebrate a very special birthday for Shinran-shon. And that's going to be his 850th birthday. 850th birthday, we're celebrating somebody's birthday. Yeah. In our family, with our relatives, right, we're lucky if we're able to celebrate our uncles, aunts, grandparents, maybe 100th birthday. Sometimes 102, 103, 104, but 850th birthday was celebrated for somebody, truly amazing. And I think in that respect, we can thank Shinran-shon for what is probably the best gift ever for us as Jodo Shinshu followers. And that gift is the gift of Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. We thank Shinran-shon for showing us the path of the Nembutsu, the path to awakening to the truth of who we are, just as we are. And the fact that we are, as individuals, we are accepted by Amida Buddha just as we are. We don't have to be anything, nothing fake, just as we are. Gifts and presents and all that stuff is nice, especially holiday time, birthday time, whenever we receive gifts, right? But when we think about the gifts we receive, they're all material things. All of our gifts are all just material things. We get toys, when we're small, when we're younger, we get toys or we get games. Yeah, as I was preparing this message, I don't know what the current games are. I don't play all this stuff, but we would get PlayStation or whatever, Sony PlayStations, or we'll get new iPhones or new bikes. As Kevin said, I play golf, so sometimes I wish I could get new golf clubs, new whatever. I wish I had a game like Kala Morikawa, but I don't. I wish I did. But all that stuff, all of these things we receive, right? They're all nice for a while. They're all nice for a while, but all of that tends to just disappear after a while. And then what? We want something else. We want something else new. We want something better than what we receive. So it's all short-lived. All of these material things are all just short-lived for us. And I think what this is telling us is, as human beings, we're just never satisfied. We don't think about it, but we're just never satisfied. All of us, whether young people or adults, older people, we're just never satisfied. And our greed is just never satisfied. But thanks to Shinran-shon, who we honor today through this Hoonko service, our Nembutsu teaching, the gift that Shinran-shon shared with us, this gift never gets old. This gift never gets old. Which is why all of you are here, right? If it had gotten old, you probably would have stopped coming to the temple to hear the message. So if we think about it, for 800 years, people have encountered Shinran-shon's teachings, the Nembutsu teaching, and it's never gotten old for them. Never gotten old for them. And again, you're all here because of Shinran-shon. Something I think it's truly amazing if we think about it. So today, as we observe this, Hoonko service, it's time for us to give really special thanks to Shinran-shon, our founder, who will be celebrating his 850th birthday this coming May, together with the 800th anniversary of the founding of the Jodo Shinshu tradition by Shinran-shon. Two very big, amazing observances will be observed this year as Jodo Shinshu Buddhist. So I think we need to give a very special thanks to Shinran-shon for giving us and sharing with us this special gift of the Nembutsu. And if you could join me in Nasho, we will recite the Nembutsu together to Shinran-shon in appreciation. Namo Amida. Namo Amida. Namo. Happy birthday. Sheena Sheldon. Thank you for the gift of the rest of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. Next, we'll have Gatha Ho'onko no Ika verses 1 and 2 in the service booklet on page 169. It's also included in this program, followed by our pledge, which you'll find on the back cover of the service book.
Our pledge. Breaking out of my shell, I will share a warm smile and speak gentle words, just like the kind Buddha. Not becoming lost in my greed, anger, and ignorance. I shall think and act with an open mind, just like the calm and peaceful Buddha. Not putting myself first, I will share in the joy and sadness of others, just like the compassionate Buddha. Realizing the gift of life I have received, I shall strive to live each day to its fullest, like the Buddha who tirelessly works to liberate all. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo.
Announcements. Following today's service, please join us for our annual New Year's party and belated retirement for Reverend Motoyoshi and welcome for Reverend Shibata. Sunday, February 5th is Yaba's famous baked potato lunch or baked potato sale. Still only $8, tickets are on sale in the foyer. Reverend Shibata's online book club will meet on January 25th at 6:30 p.m. The current read is Buddhism of the Heart. Please email Reverend Shibata or contact the office if you're interested. The Summer Club is continuing collection of aluminum cans and recyclable plastic bottles. Donations may be left by the white bin under the carport area. Please keep recyclable bottles and cans out of landfills while supporting one of our youth organizations. Also, the San Jose Bethany is showing a movie called No No Girl. It will be on January the 28th at 6 p.m. And following at 8 p.m. will be a question and answer period with the director, Paul Goodman, and the cast. So if you're interested, this flyer will be out in the foyer. There's a QR code that you can scan for tickets, and we understand that it might be shown in Sacramento as well, but we don't have confirmation of that. Are there any other announcements? If not, students are dismissed to class. Please observe good etiquette and leave while leaving and offer incense if you haven't already. I can tell I haven't done this in a while because I'm out of practice. Up to grade 6. Students up to grade 6 are dismissed to classes. And everybody else, you're welcome to stay and listen to the Dharma message from Reverend Endo. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you again, everybody, for your kind attendance. And it's really special to have a guest speaker join us, especially as Michael Sensei had said, for this very special observance of Hoonko. And even with Michael Sensei's message for this morning for the children, I had a Nembutsu moment. I got very teary-eyed thinking, oh, what a gift it is for us to really be able to be a sangha in the Nembutsu teachings. Also, it kind of sparked a memory of traveling to Japan with Michael Sensei and the Berkeley Buddhist Temple members and some of our other friends from other temples, and how moving it was to hear about the Kokurin Nembutsu, the hidden Nembutsu, and what the disciples of the teachings did in order to be able to encounter the Nembutsu to the point of hiding out and meeting in caves and hiding everything of their identity of being Joshinshu Buddhist. And Michael was so kind to actually not only be an attendee of the trip, but then he jumped in and became our translator of the trip too. So we're so fortunate to have Michael Sensei within our community of ECA, but also to be able to be with us this morning as well, and continue with us to the party too. So without further ado, I would like to invite Michael Santiago to give the adult message at this time. Thank you, Cynthia.
Good morning again. Could you please join me in Gus show? The debt of gratitude I owe to Amida's great compassion, I will proclaim until my life disintegrates into dust. The debt of gratitude I owe to my Dharma teachers, I will express until my bodily form is fully shattered. Nama, 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 nama. Well, thank you again for coming here today for this very important Goshoki Hoonko service. Thank you, Shibata Sensei, for the invitation to join all of you on this very special day, which is the most important observance for all of us as Dodo Shinshi followers. Again, why is Hoonko such an important observance for us? And it is a time that we remember our founder, Shinran Shonin, who for an amazing 90-year life did so much for us to affect our lives today. If it weren't for Shinran Shonin, Candace Sensei wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be here. BC wouldn't be here. Buddhist Church of Stockton wouldn't be here, obviously. And so, if we think of it in that sense, Shinran Shonin, truly an important person for all of us gathered here this morning. If we think about the word Hoonko, Hoonko, 3 characters in Japanese, and it basically translates into a gathering to repay our debt of gratitude. A gathering to repay our debt of gratitude. Right? So I wanted to pose a question to all of you this morning as I begin my talk. And you don't have to raise your hand. You can just think about it in your own head. If you want to raise your hand, it's okay. I'm just wondering how many of you know or knew your grandfather? Possibly your great grandfather? I don't know if grandfather goes back, but you know your grandfather. If you happen to have known your grandfather, I personally am very envious because of the fact that on the Endo side of our family, all of us grandkids, nobody knew our Endo grandfather. None of us knew our Endo grandfather because of the fact that he passed away in 1935 at the age of 54. 1935. I love to tell the story because not to brag about our Endo family, but just how amazing the history of our family is, particularly this part of our family. So my grandfather passes away in 1935 at the age of 54, right in the middle of the Depression, right, in America. And hard enough that he passes away in 1935, but he also left my grandmother with 12 kids. 12 kids. I've come here before, and I think I brought that big photo of our reunion, Endo family reunion. I talked about the family before, but yeah, my grandfather left my grandmother with 12 kids in 1935, right? it's just unfathomable, right? 8 boys and 4 girls there in Oakland. So again, I think I showed that picture. You know, our Endo family, we are a rather large corporation. My dad was one of 12 kids. So I end up having like, at our reunion, I think there's 50 first cousins in my family. So, but again, none of us grandkids knew our Endo grandfather. So we've all had to look to our parents, you know. I've had to look to my mom and my dad and his brothers and sisters, my aunts and uncles, to kind of get an idea of who was Kikuzo Endo, you know. What was Grandpa Ji-chan like? What kind of a person was he? And so the things I can recall my dad telling me about his dad were things like, oh yeah, you know, Ji-chan was tall. He was a tall man, very kind of a slender man. He didn't talk a lot, kind of a quiet man. He ran a laundromat and bath house in what is currently today's Oakland Chinatown. He enjoyed sake. He enjoyed his alcohol. I think a trait that I picked up from him, but and so he would make his homemade sake. In those days, you know, it's not as easy to go out and go to a liquor store just to buy some alcohol. So he would make his own sake in the basement, something called, those of you who know Japanese, old-time Japanese sake, doburoku. Doburoku. What your sense is laughing at. It's basically bootleg alcohol. I don't know, you ferment something, I don't know what it was, right? Whatever it was. But anyway, he made his own sake. Another thing Dad always reminded us is that, you know, your grandfather loved udon, loved noodles, period. Loved noodles, period. So whether it was udon or soba, he loved it. He loved it to the extent that they made their own udon and soba in the family. And so, because my grandfather loved noodles so much, he made my dad and all, you know, many of the siblings, if not all of them, learn how to make the noodles. So they grew up with the short time they had with grandfather making soba and udon at the house. So of the 12 kids, of the 12 siblings, my dad's brothers and sisters, my dad was one of about 4, maybe I think about 4 of them that kept on the tradition of making homemade soba and udon. So, you know, when we started growing up with Dad, he would make us help him make the soba. My dad traditionally made soba at the end of the year in December so that we could pass it out to many of our relatives and friends in the Bay Area to share that soba so they could have it at New Year's Eve. And so I've kind of tried to carry on this tradition ever since my father passed away back in 1995. And so, you know, we've been making soba in our family even from my older brother's time. So over the last, you know, almost 7 years, we've been making soba. So I try to maintain that tradition that, you know, he shared with us about our grandfather. So you're probably wondering, where's this story going? You know, we're here for Hoonko today. And, you know, like those in my family who never got to know our grandfather, there was somebody in Nembutu history that had, I think, a similar situation. And it relates to the person we celebrate today. And that individual was known as, his name was Kakunyo Shoni. So Kakunyo Shoni was the grandson of Shinran Shonin's youngest daughter, Kakushini. I think you may have heard this story, but as you know, Kakushini, as the youngest daughter of Shinran Shonin, she was the one who remained with her father toward the end of his life, you know, until he passed away, and remained with him in his final years. And so, again, this would make Kakunyo Shonin the great grandson of Shinran Shonin. Kakunyo Shonin would become the third Monshu, the third head of our Gyodo Shinshu tradition. And so, again, like me, Kakunyo Shonin didn't have the opportunity to know, in this case, it was his great grandfather. And so on the occasion of Shinran Shonin's 33rd year memorial, Company of Shonin, for whatever reason, he decided, I think it's important for me to write down the life history of his great grandfather, Shinran Shonin, so that people in the future would be able to enjoy and realize what a great individual he was. 2 weeks ago, at the Oakland Temple, Reverend Bridge was at some point in his message talking about how it's important for us to talk about our families so that we get to know who we are, where we come from. And so he was emphasizing that, it's good for the young people to talk to their parents, talk to their grandparents, get an idea of what their life was like so that, you don't lose that history of your relationship with those in your family, those you love. And so I think my thinking is this is exactly what Kakuno Shonin was thinking at the time he decided to embark on this path to write what has become known as the Godensho. Godensho. This is the written life history of Shinran Shonin. I don't know if you've ever happened to see at Hoonko time, many temples, especially Honganji, they'll hang up all of these Japanese scrolls with the life history, pictorial history of Shinran Shonin. So the Goden, that's called Goeden. All the scrolls are called Goeden. And then the written history is called Godensho, which goes with those scrolls. So Company of Shonin was born 8 years after Shinran Shonin passed away. And as he was growing up, from what he's written in the Godensho, he must have heard, many great stories about his great grandfather Shinran Shonin from people who knew him best. Right? And one of those persons, of course, was his grandmother Kakushinji, who grew up with Shinran Shonin, but more importantly was with him in those final years. And so Kakushinji, having followed Shinran Shonin out of exile from Echigo back to Kyoto, I can imagine Kakushinji telling her grandson, Kakunyo, your great grandfather was a really, really remarkable person. His life was one dedicated solely to share the Nembutsu teaching with all people of all walks of life. In the Godensho, in this written history of Shinran Shonin, Kakuno Shonin writes about the final moments of Shinran Shonin's life from what he heard from his grandmother. And so I'd like to just share this one section with you because I think it's really important because it speaks to the character, to the type of person Shinran Shonin was as a person of Nembutsu. And so this is the simple way that Kakuno Shonin explained Shinran Shonin's final moments. So he writes, towards the end of the 11th month in the second year of Kocho, the year of the water and dog, 1262, Shinran Shonin became ill. From that time on, he did not talk about secular matters, but only spoke in deep appreciation of the Buddha's benevolence. He uttered no other words, but solely recited the Nembutsu without ceasing. On the 8th day, at the hour of the horse of the same month, lying on his right side, facing west, and keeping his head to the north, Shinran Shonin, breathed his last breath while saying the Nembutsu. He was 90 years of age. His hermitage was in Kyoto, south of Oshikoji Street and east of Madenokoji Alley. The coffin was carried eastwards over the Kamo River to the Enniji Temple, south of Torideno, at the western foot of the Higashiyama Eastern Mountains in Kyoto, where the funeral was conducted. His remains were collected and deposited at Otan, north of Torideno, at the foot of Higashiyama. all his disciples and followers, both young and old, who witnessed his last moment, remembering fondly the happy bygone days when he was alive, and now grieving over his passing, crying bitterly and with deep yearning. Shinran Shonin's passing, as documented by his great-grandson, Hakuno Shonin, if you think about it, it was this short and so simple. So short and so simple. During Shinran Shonin's time, during his era, it was believed that people, particularly of high stature, such as government officials or the highly educated, high-level priests, etc., had to experience what I look at as kind of supernatural type of phenomena when the time of death neared. And when I say supernatural type of phenomena, we're talking about things like people seeing lavender or purple type clouds, right? And then these Buddhas or heavenly beings who are on the clouds, they're coming down towards you as you're passing away to receive you, to receive them, to guide them to the next realm, to guide them to the Pure Land. And then it's written that, these individuals, as they're passing away, they would have to smell, or they would smell wonderful fragrances such as incense or flowers. And then they would also hear beautiful music, peaceful music at the time of their passing. And it was believed that, unless you experience these type of phenomena at the time of death, then one's assurance of birth in the Pure Land was not there. You were not assured birth in the Pure Land. And so it became a very important part of your passing if you believed that you were going to be going to the Pure Land, that you needed to see and experience all of this phenomena. But Shinran Shonin, through his years of study and contemplation, came to realize that when we, as human beings, as ignorant beings who are lost in delusion, when we hope or wish for those type of things that are unrealistic, untrue, it's then that we suffer. It's then that we suffer. Although I'll just make a aside here. I was talking to one of the Oakland members about this idea, and she reminded me that when she was at her own mother's deathbed, she wrote down notes of what her mother was saying. The mother actually started talking about these kind of phenomena that I think she said that she was seeing these kind of things. So I take it that people heard about having to see the clouds with the Buddhas on it, and to smell the beautiful fragrances, and to hear the wonderful music. These people have heard these stories, and even back in Shinran Shonin's time, they probably heard these stories or read about it so much that it became part of their mind thought, their thinking. And so, in that sense, it's okay. But to assume that unless these phenomena occurred, our rebirth in the Pure Land was not assured. This is where Shinran Shonin said, when we get stuck on that idea, it's only then that we as ignorant beings, we begin to suffer. Right? And with that suffering, it only brings, anger and frustration and disappointment when we see things with a blind mind. So this is what Shinran Shonin meant, I think, when he referred to this world as the burning house, as he wrote in the Tannisho. And he wrote, "Were I able to know evil so thoroughly that the Tathagata would recognize it as evil, then I could say I know evil. We, as ordinary men possessed of evil passions in our world, is a burning house of transiency. Hence, all things are entirely empty and nonsense, and not true. But the Nembutsu alone is true." A number of years ago, a Reverend Chiko Naito, who was the late Reverend Chiko Naito, he was a Honganji Kangaku, one of the highest level scholars within our Honganji tradition. but he was here at BCA and traveling around giving special lectures throughout a number of the temples at BCA. And during his talk at the San Jose, let's see, he was explaining that, you know, within at the time when he was still around at the Honganji, they had created this phone system where people could call into Honganji, and if you had any kind of things you needed to talk about, you needed some counseling, or you just had questions about you know, religion or Buddhism, then you could call Honganji and you could, you know, ask all these questions. When he was working with the staff on how to respond to people that called on this line, many of the staff were asking Sensei, you know, Sensei, what do we tell these people are calling? And a lot of times their question is, you know, what is Buddhism? You know, can you explain what is Buddhism? And you know, you don't have a lot of time on these phone calls, right? So they wanted to know what is the best response to give. So Sensei thought about it, Michael Sensei thought about it, and he explained it this way, and you know, and it's something I'll never forget. Very short and simple answer, but very deep answer. In Japanese, he said, 仏教は物事を正しく見る目を身につけること。仏教は物事を正しく見る目を身につけること。So this translates to, well, this is how I translate it anyway, for us to be able to nurture ourselves, to develop the eyes of the mind and heart, to honestly and truly see things simply as they are. To be able to nurture ourselves, to develop the eyes of the mind and heart, to honestly and truly see things as they are. You know, all too often, I think we as human beings, we want to see things only as we want to see them. And without seeing things truly as they are, means to live, I think, in a world of delusion that is empty of truth. Shinran Shonin, in his passing, I think he exhibited this important idea. To be able to end one life with such deep understanding and acceptance, reciting the Nembutsu, you know, not worrying about those purple clouds or not worrying about the floating Buddhas and deities on those clouds coming for you, or the fragrance of the incense, or the music that came along with all of this. You know, all of these things that are not, essentially not real. He didn't worry about, I assume he didn't worry about how much money he had in the bank. You know, he didn't worry about where the funeral was going to be held, how many people are going to come, how much okoden is going to be collected, you know, because of the funeral, where the otoki meal was going to be held at after the service. You know, he didn't think about any of these things. He didn't think about any of the social things that were going on in life around him even at that time. You know. So we think about it, Shinran Shonin's lifelong study of the Nembutsu teaching, you know, through his encounter with his teacher Honen Shonin, and his reliance on the teachers of the masters of India and China and Japan. It is all of this that led him to, I think, the simple yet deep acceptance of Amida Buddha's all-embracing wisdom and compassion, and this unconditional embrace to be never to be forsaken and never to be ignored or forgotten by Amida Buddha. This is the essence of our Nembutsu teaching. All that Shinran Shonin realized he needed in his life was the Nembutsu teaching, nothing else. It is the realization of what Daniel Shonin, the 8th patriarch, as you all know, of our homeland tradition, wrote in his letters as the nurturing heart of Shinjin, or the entrusting heart. Entrusting ourselves in what is true and real, not what is false and misleading. This is why we're here to remember Shinran Shonin today. I referenced Daniel Shonin, but Daniel Shonin in facing the loss of his daughter, Kengafumi, at the age of 25, he wrote the following. Many things occur in our human lives, but whatever difficulties or sadness we may have experienced, if we can look upon our lives as being rare and wondrous events, then we truly will have lived. If we are able to realize this realm of gratitude, in which we are able to live and die in Basho, then what else could we need? I'll read that. It's very touching. He's speaking in reference to losing his daughter. Many things occur in our human lives, but whatever difficulties or sadness we may have experienced, if we can look upon our lives as being rare and wondrous events, then we truly will have lived. If we're able to realize this realm of gratitude, in which we are able to live and die in Gasho, then what else could we need? I mentioned earlier with the Dharma School message that we will be celebrating the 850th birthday of Shinran Shonin, together with the 800th anniversary of the founding of our Jodo Shinshu tradition, as taught to us by Shinran Shonin. And so today, we are brought together here in the presence of Amida Buddha because of Shinran Shonin. Even after 800 years, we today are moved to put our hands together in Gasho and recite the Nembutsu Namu Amida Butsu. And this is a recitation. I always emphasize, our recitation of Nembutsu is not something of our own volition. It's not something we're doing because we're telling ourselves to do Nembutsu, recite Nembutsu Namu Amida Butsu. Rather, our recitation of the Nembutsu is a response to the working of that which is true and real. It is a Nembutsu of gratitude and appreciation for allowing us to develop the eyes of the mind to honestly and truly see things as they are, as Naito Sensei told us. And when we're given this opportunity to encounter the Nembutsu teaching, we come to realize, I think, and appreciate the wonderful benefits of what it means to be embraced, never to be forsaken. And this is what it means to be accepted just as we are, And this is what it means to, I think, also realize the benefits of living a Shin Buddhist way of life. Just as Bishop Harada, our BCA bishop, has proclaimed as the theme of the BCA for this year, 2023, right? What it means to live a life, the benefits of living a life as a Shin Buddhist. And this, it all comes down to the heart of Shinran Shonin, and having introduced and brought to us this idea of Nembutsu Namu Amida Butsu, and working of with wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha. So I think it's, how grateful it is that we have encountered the great compassion of the heart of Amida Buddha and the teachings of our teachers and our masters, such as Shinran Shonin. So much so that, as Shinran Shonin wrote in his Wasan, we will proclaim our indebtedness in this life until my life disintegrates into dust, and I will express it until my bodily form is fully shattered. So, with this thought in mind, I'd like to again thank you for the invitation to share my thoughts with you on this occasion of Goshoki Hoonko, as we honor Shinran Shonin. Happy birthday to Shinran Shonin, 850th birthday. I don't know if some of you will be going to Japan in May with some of the BCA temples on the tour, but if you do, I hope to see you over there. I plan to be there too. So together, let us put our hands together and honor Shinran Shonin with Nembutsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. I'd like to close with the reading of Gobunsho. So if you could just join me in Gasho. 商人一流のご関係の向きは、信心のもって本とせられそう。このゆえは、もろもろの造業を投げ捨てて、一心に美談に起業すれば、不可思議の眼力として、仏の方より往生は事情せしめたも。そのくらいを一年勃起入賞上始終とも釈し、この上の称名念仏た如来我が往生を定めたまいし、大法人の念仏と心べきなり、あなかしこ、あなかしこ。What is taught in the tradition of Shinran Shonin is that the entrusting heart is essential. For when we abandon various practices and take refuge in Amida with singleness of heart, our birth in the Pure Land is settled by the Buddha through the inconceivable vow power. The state we thus attain is described as with awakening of a single thought of entrusting. We join those who are in the state of the truly settled. Recitation of the Nembutsu thereafter should be understood to be the Nembutsu as an expression of gratitude for the Tathagata's benevolence for settling our birth in the Pure Land. Humbly and respectfully,
So as we learn Sambajo, we need this so we know what to say and how the melody goes. So we can recycle these. So if you are coming to the front, you can lay it on top of the organ, or if you're going off the back, then please leave it on the table, and then we can reuse and not kill another sheet. So, also, although belated, we're grateful for the teachers that we have, Reverend Motoyoshi, of course, and Reverend Shibata. So I'm hoping you are going over to the gym to join us for this wonderful luncheon that we've all prepared. If we could ask you to go over there, because there is actually a service at 3 o'clock. So we want to get the program going. We have a head table at the front. We asked Reverend Motoyoshi, Reverend Endo, Reverend Shibata, and Reverend Shibata's family to please join at the front table. And then we have a center reserve table. I don't know if Alan is here. And Mashira is coming from Placer, Holy Calls from Walnut Grove. Our president, Kenny Hayashi, and our retired ministers, Reverend Mrs. Hasegawa and Mrs. Ohata. Please join us at the reserve section, which is in the middle center where we usually have you folks seated. And then we do have a wonderful program for you. I'll just give you a tiny hint. You get to see baby pictures of our reverends. It's very interesting. We have fun putting it together. Yes, they're fully clothed in their baby pictures, so we're being respectful. But anyway, it was very fun putting the shows together. And then we have the ukulele group, Hawaiian dance troupe, Taiko, of course. We have Connie, who's going to read poetry, and Reverend Endo will be delivering a message from Bishop. So please join us and stay for the program as well. So I guess, yeah, and then so please join us over there as soon as possible. Thank you.
So thank you, everybody, for coming again to this very important service, and thank you, Sensei, for your very moving messages, both for the children and for the adults. I got to read in both messages, and so I think that just is an illustration of the gratitude that Reverend Endo has for the Nembutsu teachings, but also relaying that to all of us as a beautiful reminder of how fortunate we are to be able to be followers in the Nembutsu together. So without further ado, we can go ahead and excuse everybody to the gym. Oh, sure. And then please don't forget to offer incense before you leave, and then we'll see you in the gymnasium. Thank you, everybody.